Kale had walked many worlds, but none felt like this one. The air was thick with the scent of unknown flowers, sweet and sharp at the same time. Trees stretched higher than any building on Earth, their trunks wide and glowing faintly with veins of gold light. Birds with long, iridescent feathers flitted across the sky, leaving trails of color in their wake. For a moment, Kale paused, taking it all in, feeling a sense of peace he had not known in years. He had come as an explorer, representing the human expedition sent to study the frontier planets. Kale had seen danger before, collapsing ice caves, acid storms, deadly wildlife. But here, in the heart of this alien forest, he felt something different. There was beauty, yes, but also a deep unpredictability. The locals, who called themselves the Virelians, had built a city atop the cliffs and plateaus, weaving their homes into the giant trees. Their civilization was peaceful, but nature itself was a constant reminder that life could turn fragile in an instant. Kale, over here, called Linara, his fellow explorer. She pointed toward the festival square at the center of the city. Today was the festival of life, a celebration of protection, growth, and care, the Virelians' most important holiday. The streets were alive with color. Children ran around with painted wings strapped to their backs. Elder Virelians floated in the air with their delicate anti-gravity robes, and at the center, under a massive tree with leaves that shimmered like liquid silver, stood the queen herself, Arya. Kale had heard of Queen Arya. Tales of her wisdom had spread across neighboring systems. She was said to be calm, fair, and deeply protective of her people. Now, seeing her in person, Kale understood why. Her posture was straight but gentle. Her eyes scanned the crowd not with judgment but with concern for every child, every elder, every citizen present. Even from a distance, her presence felt like a shield, a quiet, powerful kind of authority. Kale stepped closer, careful not to draw too much attention. He had learned over the years that observing first, speaking later, was usually the safest way to gain trust in new worlds. But the Virelians were welcoming, their gestures kind, their smiles warm. Kale allowed himself a small smile. Maybe, he thought, this world was finally one where humans could feel at home. Then it happened. A low rumble shook the ground. Kale froze, his instincts kicking in. The rumble grew into a roar as the massive cliffside near the city began to tremble. Rocks loosened from the edges, crashing down toward the streets. The festival erupted into chaos. Children screamed, parents shouted, and Kale's heart sank as he saw what was coming. Lena, the queen's child, was at the front of the crowd, fascinated by a floating flower that spun in the wind. She did not see the rockfall that tumbled closer with each second. Kale sprinted, adrenaline surging. His boots barely touched the ground as he pushed through the panicked crowd. "Lena!" he shouted. The child turned just in time to see a boulder heading straight for her. Without thinking, Kale threw himself forward, slamming into her small frame and pulling her down. The rock grazed his shoulder, pinning him to the ground, but Lena was safe. She whimpered, clinging to Kale's chest, while the people around them froze in shock. Queen Arya's voice rang out, calm but firm. "Secure the children, protect them." Kale gritted his teeth as more debris fell around him. His body ached, but he did not move Lena. Instead, he used his free arm to push the heaviest rocks aside, shield the others nearby, and guide the children to safety. When the shaking finally subsided, the crowd realized that every child was safe. Every parent sighed in relief. And in the middle of the chaos, Kale lay on the ground, covered in dust and small scratches, holding Lena protectively. The queen approached, her robe brushing the ground like flowing water. She stopped beside them, eyes scanning Kale's injuries. For a moment, no words were spoken. Then softly she said, "You risked yourself for my child. Not many would do that." Kale shook his head, dust falling from his hair. It was instinct. Any person would do the same. The queen studied him. There was truth in his eyes, yes, but also something more, a quiet courage, a willingness to place others above himself, even strangers. Kale had not done this for glory or reward, he had done it because it was right. Instinct, perhaps, she said, but your instinct saved her life. That is not ordinary. Lena clung to Kale but peeked at the Queen. She said thank you, she whispered, voice small but sincere. Kale smiled faintly and ruffled her hair. The crowd had gathered around, murmuring in admiration. Some reached out to help Kale to his feet. Others bowed to the Queen, who now turned her attention fully to the human. Kale, she said, pronouncing his name with careful precision, I wish to learn more about you, your people, your ways. I have not seen courage like yours in a long time. Kale blinked. The Queen had spoken his name aloud, not in a formal title or greeting, but with curiosity and respect. It was unexpected and somehow humbling. I am just an explorer, Kale said. I study worlds, learn from them, and try to help wherever I can. That is all. The Queen smiled faintly. Sometimes that is enough. Over the next few hours, Kale was escorted to the palace. The Virelians treated him kindly, cleaning his wounds and giving him food. He observed the architecture, noting the ways the aliens had adapted to the forest without harming it. The city seemed to grow with the trees rather than on top of them, a harmony he had rarely seen on any world. Queen Arya visited him before nightfall. She sat beside Kale quietly, her presence calm, her gaze thoughtful. Your people are far from here, she said, and yet you put yourself in danger for a child you did not know. Why? Kale thought for a moment. Because she was in danger. Anyone in danger, I could not just stand by. Humans, we value life. I guess I act on that instinct even when it is difficult. The Queen nodded. It is rare, even among my people, to act so purely. I have heard tales of humans, but now I see the truth in them. Kale felt a strange warmth in her words. Recognition, yes, but also a hint of something deeper, an understanding that transcended language, culture, or species. As night fell, the city glowed softly under bioluminescent leaves. Kale lay on a simple cot, exhausted but alert. He thought about Lena, about the Queen, about the festival that had turned into chaos. He wondered if his presence here would make a difference. Somehow, he felt that it already had. Outside, the Queen looked down from her balcony. Lena slept peacefully in the royal nursery, unaware of the danger she had narrowly escaped. And Kale had done more than protect a child. He had unknowingly begun a bond that could change the future of this world, and perhaps more than this world. The Queen's eyes softened. Perhaps, she whispered to herself, he is meant to be more than just a guest. A new chapter of their lives was beginning, one built not on fear or force but on courage, trust, and the quiet power of doing what is right. And Kale, he was ready, even if he did not yet know it. Kale woke to soft sunlight spilling through the tall, leaf-woven windows of the palace. The air was filled with the quiet hum of life, birds calling from the trees, Virelian caretakers moving gracefully along the polished wooden floors. His body still ached from the injuries he had sustained while protecting Lena, but the pain was bearable. More than anything, he felt a sense of wonder and curiosity about the world he now found himself in. Yesterday had been a whirlwind of danger, chaos, and instinctive action. But today, the palace was calm, and Kale realized that the Queen had not only saved him from immediate harm after the accident, but had also placed him in her care. He could not deny that it felt strange, being protected, treated with kindness, when he was usually the one offering it. A soft knock came at the door. "Enter," Kale called, sitting up on the cot. The door opened and a young Virelian servant stepped in, carrying a tray of fruits and water. "The Queen sends you nourishment, Kale," the servant said, voice gentle and melodic. Kale nodded, accepting the tray. He ate quietly, savoring the strange yet sweet fruits. Some had flavors like nothing he had tasted before, spicy, sweet, and refreshing all at once. As he ate, he wondered what the Queen thought of him. Did she truly see humans as brave? Or was this simply a polite gesture of her people? His question was answered soon enough. The door opened again, wider this time, and Queen Arya herself entered. Her robe flowed like water, shimmering slightly in the sunlight. Lena followed behind her, carrying a small bouquet of flowers for Kale. "Good morning, Kale," Arya said softly. "How are you feeling today?" "Better," Kale replied, "sore but alive, thanks to you and to the way your people helped me." He gestured to Lena, who now stood shyly beside the queen. Arya smiled. "You saved her life. It is only right that you recover." Her eyes softened. "And perhaps it is time I learn more about you." Kale blinked, a little surprised. The queen wanted to know about him. Humans were often strangers to other worlds, sometimes feared, sometimes admired, but rarely truly understood. He nodded. I am from Earth," he said simply. "I have trained as an explorer, and my goal is to study new worlds, help when I can, and learn from them. I never thought I would end up here in the middle of your festival." Arya listened carefully, tilting her head as she observed him. "I can see that you do not act out of pride or desire for recognition. That is rare, even among humans." Lena, still holding her flowers, spoke up. "Kale, will you play with me?" Kale smiled, wincing slightly as he moved. "Of course, Lena. But only if you promise to be careful this time." The queen chuckled softly. "I think she has learned the meaning of care today," she said. "But she may need guidance. Perhaps you can teach her, Kale, as you teach me." Over the next few hours, Kale explored the palace under Arya's guidance. The architecture fascinated him. Every structure, every corridor, every balcony seemed to grow from the living trees rather than being built atop them. Floors were woven from strong, flexible branches, polished smooth, while walls were made from leaves strengthened with natural resin. The air smelled faintly of sap and flower nectar, giving the palace a constant, calming freshness. As they walked, Arya spoke softly. "The Viorlians value harmony above all. We build with care so that nature remains our ally. Humans, your people, are different, are they not?" Kale nodded. "Yes. Humans often shape the land to our needs. Sometimes we harm it, even without meaning to, but we are learning. We try to protect and preserve as much as we can, and we learn from other civilizations like yours." The queen's eyes gleamed. "Then perhaps you can teach us too. Your ways, your ideas, could help us better protect our children and our cities." Kale considered her words. "I can try. There are simple things humans do, systems, planning, even small inventions that make life safer. I would be honored to share them if it helps." They arrived at the festival square, now empty and quiet. Lena ran ahead to a small fountain, laughing as she splashed water with her hands. Kale watched her, remembering the danger she had faced yesterday. He felt a strange, protective warmth toward her, a sense of responsibility beyond duty or obligation. Arya spoke, her voice calm and steady. "Yesterday you acted not just as a protector but as a teacher. You showed courage and care. That is rare in any species." Kale shrugged, trying to hide his modest pride. "I only did what anyone should. I couldn't leave her in danger." Arya shook her head gently. "Not everyone would have acted that way, and not everyone could have remained calm amidst chaos. Your heart, your mind, are remarkable, Kale. I wonder if humans are as rare as I have heard, or if this is a glimpse of what your species can truly be." The compliment surprised him. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy. Other species assumed them weak, slow, or reckless. But here, a queen of an alien civilization had seen something different, something worth admiration. Lena tugged at Kale's hand. "Come on." "Let's play," he smiled, standing carefully. Together they explored the fountain, tossing small glowing pebbles into the water. Arya watched quietly, her eyes following every movement, as if studying a new puzzle she wanted to understand. "Kale," she said after a while, "would you be willing to teach my people some of your ways? Not weapons, not conquest, but ways to protect, to survive, to think differently about danger." Kale nodded eagerly. "Yes." I can show them some things that helped humans survive on dangerous worlds. Simple ideas, nothing more, but they can save lives. Arya's expression softened. Good. I want my people to understand you and perhaps to understand humans. I have been told that humans are courageous, but courage is not always visible. Today, I saw it. Kale felt a warmth in his chest. Praise was not why he acted, but recognition from someone like the Queen it mattered. It reminded him that heroism could ripple beyond immediate action, inspiring others. Over the next days, Kale became part of the palace rhythm. He helped organize safe play areas for children, advised on simple early warning systems for the cliffs, and taught the Virelians small techniques to handle sudden emergencies. Lena followed him everywhere, eager to learn and help. The Queen observed quietly, occasionally asking questions, sometimes merely watching in silence. Kale realized that Arya was not just curious, she was testing him, seeing how he integrated, how he adapted, and how his human instincts could complement their ways. One evening, after a long day of teaching and exploration, Kale sat with the Queen in a quiet courtyard. Lanterns glowed in the branches above, casting soft patterns across the stone path. Lena was asleep in the nursery, exhausted from a day of fun. Kale, Arya began, I want to give you a choice. You can remain here teaching, helping, learning, or you can leave when your mission is complete. There is no obligation, no chains. Kale considered her words. On one hand, he had his mission, his responsibilities as an explorer. On the other, he had never felt such an immediate connection to another world, its people, and its queen. And he had felt the bond with Lena, the child whose life he had saved. I would like to stay, he said finally, if you will have me. Not for reward, but because I want to help, and I feel I can learn much from your people as well. Arya's smile was gentle but carried depth. Then stay, Kale, learn, teach, and share your ways. And know this, what you did yesterday was more than protection. It was a gift to my child, to my people, and perhaps to me. Kale felt a quiet honor. He had never been taken seriously by royalty before. Here, the Queen did not just respect him. She trusted him, valued him, and saw him as a part of something larger than himself. The night passed quietly. Kale lay in his cot, thinking about what the days ahead might hold. He realized that his journey had changed. No longer was he a lone human explorer among alien worlds. Now, he had responsibility, connection, and purpose. He was part of a living, breathing society that valued his courage, his mind, and his heart. And he knew, deep down, that his bond with the Queen and her child would grow stronger. The trust they had begun to build could shape the future of this world, and perhaps beyond. Outside, the palace hummed softly under the night sky. Stars twinkled above, and Kale felt the quiet thrill of possibilities. Here, in this alien world, humans had a chance to shine, not with force or conquest, but with courage, care, and wisdom. Kale was ready for whatever came next. The sun rose over the Virelian palace, painting the sky in soft gold and lavender. Kale stood on the balcony, gazing at the city below. Children ran through the tree-lined streets, laughter ringing like music. Workers and artisans moved gracefully, their movements efficient yet elegant, blending seamlessly with the forest that surrounded them. Kale felt a sense of awe. He had traveled many worlds, but this one, this city, was alive in a way he had never experienced before. Today was different. Today, he was not merely a guest or a helper. Queen Arya had requested that he join the royal council for a meeting of utmost importance. The council was made up of elders, advisors, and officials who oversaw the safety, culture, and laws of the Virelian people. Kale had been invited not because of protocol, but because the Queen trusted his judgment, and perhaps because she wanted to test him further. As he entered the council chamber, he was greeted with cautious glances. The room was circular, with a high domed ceiling made of interwoven branches and glowing leaves. Council members regarded him silently. Some were curious, Some were skeptical. Humans were rare in Virelian history, and few had earned the trust of their queen. Arya spoke first. Members of the council, today we are here to consider a matter of honor. Kale, who saved my child from harm, has offered to stay among us. He has already shared wisdom, taught us new methods of protection, and shown courage beyond measure. Murmurs ran through the room. One elder, tall and stern, spoke. Your Majesty, while we respect this human's actions, can we trust him fully? Humans are not of our kind. Their ways are different. Perhaps his bravery is unique, but is it enough to give him a formal place in our society? Kale bowed his head respectfully. I understand your caution. I do not seek honor or title. I only wish to help, to teach, and to learn. My actions yesterday, they were instinct, not ambition. Another council member, a softer voice, added, his instincts saved the queen's child. That is a rare thing. Even among Virelians, such courage is unusual. The queen nodded. It is not just courage nor instinct. Kale possesses humility, intelligence, and empathy. He values life. He respects our ways. He is already part of our community, though he comes from another world. There was a pause. Kale could feel the weight of their eyes on him. Some were skeptical, some intrigued, all cautious. Then Arya continued, her voice calm but firm. I propose that Kale be formally recognized, not as a guest, not as an outsider, but as part of our royal family. He will hold a special role as protector, advisor, and teacher. His presence among us strengthens our society and honors the bond between humans and Virelians. A murmur of shock swept through the chamber. Some council members exchanged glances. Others whispered to one another. The stern elder finally spoke again. Your Majesty, adoption into the royal family is a serious matter. It is not a reward for bravery. It is a commitment. Can this human understand our responsibilities, our traditions? Kale straightened, meeting the elder's gaze. I do not claim to fully understand your ways yet. But I am willing to learn, to respect your laws, and to earn my place through actions. I do not seek to disrupt your traditions. I wish only to contribute to the well-being of your people. The queen smiled, a quiet pride in her eyes. That is why I trust him. The council fell silent. Finally, the soft-voiced advisor spoke. If he proves himself in the coming days, showing understanding, care, and wisdom, then perhaps he deserves this honor. Arya nodded. Then it is settled. Kale will undergo a series of trials, not dangerous but meaningful. Tasks that test his judgment, his compassion, and his ability to integrate into our society. Kale bowed again. I accept, Your Majesty. The first task was simple but revealing. Kale was asked to organize a small group of children to safely navigate the cliffs near the city, teaching them basic techniques to avoid accidents. He had no authority over them, no power to command, only guidance and patience. He spent the morning walking with the children, showing them how to hold ropes, balance on narrow ledges, and watch for shifting stones. Lena followed him eagerly, asking questions and demonstrating what she learned. Kale realized that leadership was not about force. It was about trust, attention, and patience. He spoke calmly, encouraged mistakes, and rewarded careful observation. When the task ended, the queen observed quietly, noting how Kale had handled not only the children but also their fears and anxieties. Even the most hesitant child had smiled by the end of the lesson. Excellent, she said quietly when they returned to the palace. You do not just act bravely, Kale. You teach, guide, and inspire. The second task tested Kale's ability to collaborate with the council. He was asked to provide solutions for natural threats, storms, rockfalls, and flooding, that often endangered the city. Using his knowledge of Earth technology and problem-solving, Kale suggested simple but effective measures. Early warning systems using natural materials, communal drills, and small structural reinforcements that worked with the trees rather than against them. The council watched closely, some skeptical at first. But when Kale demonstrated how small changes could prevent accidents and save lives without harming the environment, even the stern elder nodded in approval. "You see," Arya said softly after the meeting, "Kale's ways are different, yes, but they honor life and they strengthen our society. This is the heart of leadership." Finally, the third task was personal and symbolic. Kale was asked to care for the Queen's child, Lena, in a way that went beyond protection, nurturing her curiosity, teaching her small lessons about observation, problem-solving, and care. He spent days accompanying Lena through the palace gardens, showing her how to identify safe paths, how to balance on logs, and how to notice the smallest signs of changes in the environment. Lena adored him, asking endless questions, seeking guidance and learning from his patience. Kale realized that teaching her was not about knowledge alone. It was about trust, patience, and forming a bond built on care and respect. Lena responded with laughter, curiosity, and attention, proving that his guidance worked. When the final day came, the council convened once more. Arya stood beside Kale, her expression calm but proud. "Kale has completed the trials," she announced. "He has shown judgment, care, patience, and wisdom. He understands our ways and has proven himself worthy of the honor I propose." The council members looked at Kale, measuring him with a new respect. The stern elder finally spoke. "I see now that the Queen's choice is justified. He has earned our trust through his actions, not words." A soft wave of approval spread through the room. Some members nodded, others smiled quietly. Kale felt a mixture of relief and humility. He had not acted for recognition, yet recognition had come not for pride but because he had stayed true to his instincts, his humanity, and his care for others. Arya extended her hand. "Kale, I formally adopt you into my family. You will hold the title of protector and advisor, not as a stranger but as one of us. Will you accept this honor?" Kale bowed deeply. "I accept your majesty. I will serve with honor, respect, and care for all." The Queen smiled, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "And know this, Kale, your bond with Lena, with me, and with our people is no longer temporary. You are part of our family. Your courage, wisdom, and humanity have earned you a place here." Kale looked at Lena, who ran to hug him with pure joy. He felt a warmth that went beyond pride, a sense of belonging, of purpose, and of connection he had never known on any other world. In the days that followed, Kale's life changed. He was given a simple, elegant room in the palace, overlooking the city and the surrounding forests. He joined the council in meetings, offering guidance, learning their customs, and sharing human knowledge where it helped. Children came to him for lessons. Citizens sought his advice on simple protective measures, and the Queen continued to observe quietly, always aware of the bond they now shared. Through it all, Kale never forgot the act that had brought him here, the instinctive leap to protect a child from harm. That single moment of courage had shaped not only Lena's life but his own, and now, through the Queen's recognition, it had shaped an entire society. Kale understood that heroism was not about glory. It was about care, integrity, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. And in the Viorlian palace, surrounded by new friends, responsibilities, and a child who adored him, Kale felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known. The Queen's voice came softly one evening as they walked through the palace gardens. "Kale, you have not only protected my child, but you have also protected our trust, our hope, and our way of life. That is a rare gift, one that cannot be repaid. But know this, we honor you, not for what you have done alone, but for who you are." Kale nodded, humbled. "I only did what I could. I never expected honor, but I am grateful for your trust, your guidance, and your acceptance." Arya's eyes met his, calm and steady. "Then you are truly one of us, and together we will face whatever comes next." Kale realized that the future was no longer uncertain. He had a place, a purpose, and a family. And he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, he would meet them, not as a stranger in a foreign world, but as a trusted protector, a teacher, and a part of something greater than himself. The bond had been forged. The honor had been granted. And Kale's journey, though far from over, had reached a moment of belonging that would shape the lives of humans and Virelians alike. The palace awoke to the soft glow of dawn, sunlight spilling through the silver-veined leaves of the enormous trees. Birds called to each other, their melodies mixing with the gentle hum of the Virelian city below. Kale stood on the balcony of his new quarters, looking out at the forested cliffs and bridges that connected homes woven into the trees. It had been weeks since the council had formally recognized him as part of the royal family. The title of protector and advisor had not come lightly, and Kale had taken his duties seriously. Every day brought new challenges, but also a growing sense of belonging. Lena ran up the stairs to join him, her small hand in his. "Kale, come with me. The courtyard is full of children. I want to show them the new games you taught me." Kale smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "Lead the way, little one. Let's see what your friends can learn today." As they walked, Kale noticed the changes in the city. Children played safely along the forest pathways, guided by simple techniques he had shared. Small bridges and walkways had been reinforced subtly, blending with nature rather than altering it. Citizens moved with confidence, aware of the small precautions now in place. Kale realized the impact of his presence. Not only had he saved Lena, but he had helped the entire community adapt to their environment more safely. Queen Arya joined them shortly after, her robe flowing like liquid silver as she descended the staircase. She watched Kale interact with the children, her eyes softening. "You have done more than I imagined," she said quietly. Kale turned to her with a humble nod. "I only tried to help. I learned from your people, and I hope I have made a small difference." Arya's smile deepened. "You have done more than that. You have inspired trust, courage, and curiosity. My people now see humans not as strangers but as friends and allies." The morning passed with laughter, learning, and gentle lessons in observation and care. Kale guided the children through exercises that taught balance, focus, and awareness. He noticed that even the most hesitant child gained confidence under his encouragement. Lena beamed at him proudly, clearly excited to share what she had learned. Later, in a private courtyard, Arya spoke to Kale about the future. "Kale, your presence here is more than a role. You are now a bridge between humans and Virelians, between cultures, and between generations. I want you to understand the importance of this position. Our people look to you not only for guidance but for inspiration." Kale considered her words carefully. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best to honor the trust you and your people have given me." Arya's expression softened further. "I also wish to acknowledge something else, the bond you have with Lena. You saved her life, yes, but more than that, you have nurtured her spirit, her curiosity, and her courage. That is a rare gift, one that I value deeply." Kale's chest warmed at her words. He had never imagined that simple acts of care and protection could lead to such trust and connection. "I only did what felt right," he said quietly. Arya placed a hand gently on his arm. "That is why it matters so much. You act with honor without seeking reward. And that is why you are part of my family now." Over the following days, Kale fully integrated into royal life. He advised the Queen on methods to prevent accidents, coordinated exercises to strengthen the city's preparedness, and shared his knowledge of other worlds to help the Virelians think beyond their current experiences. The council came to rely on his judgment, and even the sternest members began to respect him. Kale also spent time learning from the Virelians. Their knowledge of natural balance, harmony with the forest, and sophisticated communication impressed him deeply. He realized that humans had much to offer them, but also that humans could learn much from other civilizations. It was a partnership built on respect and mutual curiosity. One evening, Arya summoned Kale to the palace's grand observation deck. The stars shone brilliantly above, reflected in the silver leaves around them. Lena was asleep in the nursery, her soft breathing a reminder of the life Kale had once saved. "Kale," Arya said softly, "look at the stars. Every one of them holds the potential for life, for civilizations, for hope. Your people, your presence, reminds us that courage and care are universal." Kale nodded, gazing at the expanse. "I have always believed that humans can make a difference. But here, seeing your people, your city, I see that care and courage are not just human qualities. They exist in all who value life." Arya's eyes met his. "And together we can protect, teach, and inspire, not with force but with wisdom, courage, and compassion. That is the true power of your role here." Kale felt a sense of peace he had never known. He was not a stranger. He was not merely an outsider. He was part of a living society, entrusted with the safety, growth, and education of its people. And in that he found purpose. Weeks turned into months. Kale's influence spread quietly but steadily. Children learned to explore safely, citizens adapted to environmental challenges with confidence, and the city thrived under a combination of Virelian wisdom and human ingenuity. Lena grew bolder and more curious, often following Kale into the gardens and forests, learning lessons that blended both cultures. The queen observed all this with pride. Kale had not only fulfilled the role of protector and advisor, he had become a symbol of trust, courage, and humanity. One day, a council meeting brought new challenges. A sudden storm had struck a distant plateau, threatening crops and minor settlements. The council looked to Kale for guidance. Using a combination of Virelian techniques and human strategies, he proposed a simple, effective plan: temporary barriers, early warning signals, and evacuation guidance. The storm arrived, fierce but not unmanageable. Thanks to Kale's instructions, no one was harmed. The council members looked at him with respect, admiration, and gratitude. The queen's gaze was quiet but full of pride. "Kale," she said later, "you have done more than I could have imagined. You protect not only life but also the trust and hope of my people. That is a rare gift." Kale shook his head. "I only did what I could. Your people's wisdom and strength made it possible. I simply guided, shared, and helped when I could." Arya smiled. "And that is why you are part of my family. Not for the acts alone, but for who you are: honest, caring, and brave." As the sun set over the forested cliffs, Kale realized that his journey had come full circle. From the moment he had instinctively shielded Lena from harm, he had stepped into a world that was both alien and familiar. A world that had tested him, challenged him, and ultimately embraced him. He had discovered that heroism was not about battles or glory. It was about courage, care, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. And in doing so, he had become a bridge between humans and Virelians, a symbol of trust, understanding, and the strength of humanity in the vast, mysterious galaxy. The queen approached him quietly. "Kale, know this: you are not just my protector. You are part of our family, part of our hope, and part of our future. Whatever challenges lie ahead, I am confident we can face them together." Kale looked at her, and then at the city bathed in twilight. Lena's laughter echoed faintly from the gardens. The stars shone above, countless and eternal. "I understand, Your Majesty," he said, "and I will do everything I can to honor your trust, your family, and your people." Arya placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of respect, recognition, and belonging. "Then the future is bright, Kale, because with courage, care, and wisdom, anything is possible." Kale smiled, feeling the weight and warmth of his new life settle around him. He had saved a life, earned a family, and helped shape a society. He was no longer a mere explorer in a strange world. He was a human who had bridged worlds, showing that courage, compassion, and intelligence could make a lasting difference. And for the first time in a long time, Kale felt truly at home. The Virelian city slept peacefully under the stars, a testament to what could be achieved when humanity and wisdom worked together. And Kale, the protector and advisor, stood ready for the future, knowing that his journey, though begun with instinct, had created hope, trust, and unity that would endure for generations.